All right, y'all. Dad the thoughts. Let's get this thing over with. Number one, went back, watched the film, watched the all 22, watched it thoroughly, and definitely has some thoughts that I want to share. We're not going to be doing any grades, but we'll go through the box score towards the end of this. But we'll also be taking like a focus on what we need to do moving forward for next season and how we can maybe salvage some of the players on this team and just be better moving forward, obviously. But Tennessee loses 45-24 at home versus an in-state rival. We gave up 300 yards rushing, over 300 yards rushing. And it's like the opposite of what I thought was going to happen in so many different ways. I said, hey, Tennessee's going to win this game 45-31. And I said that we'll rush for somewhere around 280. It's just anytime that you give up that many rushing yards at home to an in-state rival, somebody's got to go. I'm not one to be calling for people's jobs, but at this point, it just is what it is. If Coach Heupel wants to keep coaching here, he is going to have to cut ties with some folks, and he's going to have to upgrade it in a major way. I don't think that we can just like make the tweaks in every spot. Some spots, yeah, but in other spots, somebody's got to go. But that's how we're going to start this thing off, man. Please make sure to like and subscribe to the channel. Shouts out to our members. And let's jump into just like the overview of what I saw in watching film. Number one, the offense and defense got out schemed, got out coached in a very, very major way. It was embarrassing, very embarrassing. They were sitting on everything that we wanted to do. They knew when we were blitzing. They knew the types of coverages that we were running. They knew everything that the offense was trying to do when we were going to run it, the routes that we are going to run, just sitting on literally everything. So all of that has to get fixed. I mean, and we're also the less physical team. Now, I don't think that it was by like some huge margin because we did some really nice things. Like we were more physical than maybe some people would think, especially with the offensive line, really moving people. But the defense really wasn't physical. I think our defense really got pushed around most of the game. And that's something that we'll be talking about here in just a second. But we also played the wrong personnel, I think, too much. And I'm talking about like we played the wrong players. You know what I mean? Like you can't just you have to understand who you have out there, and you have to play the best guys. We didn't always do that. I don't think necessarily for sure on defense, like 1,000% on defense, but also some on offense. I question a lot of things, but let's move forward. These are some of the changes that I think Tennessee needs to make. Number one, like I said, I don't want to call for people's jobs, but the strength staff has got to go. That's just, it just is what it is. They've done some really nice things. Okay. Players have gained weight. I don't think that over the course of the year that we were pushed around a ton, but we're pushed around enough that there should be, and there has to be an upgrade there. That is number one. We have to do that. Number two, we got to add to the offense. We talked about it so much last season, right? That veer and shoot offense, people had figured it out. You know, we had no counters. So we spent the whole offseason kind of like making a whole new offense to have the counters, but we didn't add any counters to that. So you always had to have counters. Like one of the simplest ways for me to say it is if you line up one certain way, you should have one play, like it should be one run and play. We'll call it a run right up the middle. You should have 3 to 4 things to come off of that. 3 to 4 answers they come off of that exact same look for every single play, for every way that you line up. And if you do that, then teams can't key on what you want to do and shut you down the way that Vanderbilt has or did last night, the way that some other teams did over the course of the year, and the way that teams have done to this offense at least once a year since Coach Heupel's been here. He's got to get better. This is not, pee-wee football. You're going to have plenty of answers because if you don't, then you're going to have a very, very long day. Like you've got to have the counters. So next, these 3 coaches are who I think Tennessee needs to try to keep. And this is just for the defense. Coach E.T., who's our cornerbacks coach, he has to stay. We have to find a way to hold on to him. It doesn't matter what happens anywhere else. We want to hold on to him. I think he might be the best cornerback coach in the whole country. Coach Inge, I think that he needs to stick around. I like what I've seen from him just as far as the way that the linebackers are playing. Now, he does need to play the right guys because I don't think that he's always doing that. The whole staff. Get out of the thought of this kid's earned it and all that. Bro, if he's not the best player, then he didn't really earn it. I don't care how hard he's worked. Yeah, work him in, whenever you can, but you got to get up big first to get those types of players in. Because if they're not the best at that spot, then they can't play. All right, it's just that simple. And again, it's not just Coach Inge. I think everybody on this staff, it feels like Coach E.T. is doing a pretty good job of that. I don't even know if he's the one who says, hey, these are the cornerbacks who are going to play or who that is. But Coach Garner, obviously, I would love to hold on to him. Coach Golish was just hired at Auburn. I think it's a pretty strong possibility that Coach Garner won't be back. But I'm giving y'all a daggum hint. If you work for the University of Tennessee, this is a hint. Okay, like lights should be blinking and all that. This is a hint. The other coaches probably need to go, or we might lose some other players. We might lose some players that we want to hold on to. All right, and it's not just on that level. There's several layers. There's several levels that I could go into with it, but I'm just going to leave it right there. I've got 3 guys highlighted on the defense. Everybody else, you can go find somebody else. All right. So that's how that needs to flow. All right, moving forward. What do I like from what I've seen? And this is not just about last night, y'all. It's about over the course of the year. Some guys, some groups that I think can help us next season that I'm expecting will help us, that we need to hold on to the players in these spots so that we can have the best team possible. Young linebackers, got to hold on to those guys. I love what I've seen from every single one of them. It's not just true freshmen, but especially that true freshman class. But Edwin Spillman, he's played very well. I would still consider him to be like a young linebacker. He's just a redshirt freshman, so he'll be a redshirt sophomore next year. That should be his send-off season. I think that we got to hold on to him. Young wide receivers, I like all of those guys, right? Especially in that true freshman class. Obviously, Braylon Staley, Mike Matthews, he did some really good things last night. He's got to do a better job catching the football on a more consistent basis. Young defensive tackles, they're going to grow. They, in some points, got pushed around over the course of the year. It happened some last night, but as they get bigger, as they get stronger, they're going to be perfectly fine. I think that they're trending how we want them to. Young tight ends. I know that Braham has had some drops, but and that's something else. We got to work on the drops. Like that has to get fixed. There's no reason that we lead the country in drops. And I think for not the second season in a row, but last year we was pretty close to it. So drops has been a problem for everybody. We got to get way better at that. But yeah, hold on to those young guys because obviously they're very good. I think that the young running backs are going to be very good as well. And then the young defensive ends, guys like Marion Dot. I love what I've seen from him. Jordan Ross obviously didn't get to play last night. Got to hold on to him. But yeah, I mean, look, y'all, in so many different spots that we've actually got to see these young players play. They've looked good, but we just got to try to hold on to the guys that we feel like will be the core of this team moving forward. And just because one group's not up here doesn't mean that I don't think that they played well. I mean, look, the offensive line, I think that Max Anderson and Bennett Warren both looked really good. But there's a reason that I don't have the offensive line up here as, hey, it's critical. It's imperative that we hold on to them. I still want to, but I don't think it's as high as these 6 that we have. So moving forward, this is what I was talking about. This is pointing out the players that we have that can go pro after this season, but might also come back. So I've got 6 names on y'all's right. I've got their college salary, so that's an average that came from ESPN of what they play and what players that play what they play get paid. Okay, so to the left, y'all can see what the rookie salaries would be. And again, this is on a year-to-year basis. It's not the whole full contract. We're talking about what's your yearly salary. All right, so number 1, Lance Hurd, I think he's getting over $1 million. He's probably somewhere right in between $1 to $2 million at this point. Now, I don't know. I haven't seen him mocked really anywhere in the NFL draft. He will get drafted. If he wants to go, he will definitely get drafted. But what rounds will it be in? I could potentially see somewhere between the 2nd to 4th rounds. So we're talking about $900,000 to about $2.5 million. If he goes early in the 2nd round, obviously the earlier that they go, the more that they're going to end up getting paid. So really, just looking at this list, he might be the only player that it makes 100% sense for him to come back, unless he's going to get that 1st round grade because he's already kind of getting paid NFL money, right? So that's the point there. I think that he will come back. I sincerely do. I can't speak for him, but I think that it would maybe be in his best interest, just based off of what his actual draft stock is, because that time's coming where he's going to know the agents, they'll be able to tell him, hey, this is where you're at. What do you want to do? If he's outside of if he's outside of the 2nd round, if they're saying, hey, it's probably somewhere around 3rd to 4th round, I think it just makes more sense for him. Hey, come back, get your draft stock up higher, and make the NFL money again this season, and then make even more, make some real NFL money coming up next year. That's just the way that I would do it personally. Now, at number 2, Wendell Moy. As a guard, we're talking about $300,000 to $700,000 playing in college. Now, I don't know what his draft grade is going to be, but I do think that he's an NFL player. I really do. I think he's going to be one of the best guards in this country. He is banged up, obviously, so that might hurt him some. Hopefully not. I want all these guys to be able to go on and get drafted. But the whole point here is it doesn't really matter where he gets drafted at. He's probably going to end up making more money. So we'll see. I mean, does he want to hold out one more year? And maybe we could get him somewhere between like rounds maybe 5 to 7, possibly. I don't know if you want to spend that much money on one guard, but maybe Tennessee does. That would actually help us out because then we'll have to go to the portal and find somebody else, and it'll probably cost even more if we do it that way. So I can see him coming back, which is why I said for Bennett Warren and for Max Anderson, really want to hold on to him. Really do. But I don't know if that is like with what we're talking about right now for the most pressing needs. Yeah, try to find a way to hold on to him. But if it turns into, man, this is going to be too much money, then you might have to cut ties with him. Okay. If these two guys come back. So then we have Caleb Herring. So as a defensive end, we're talking $500,000 to like $1 million. It might also make sense for him to come back because I haven't seen him really mocked anywhere at all. I don't know. I feel like he would probably end up getting drafted if he wanted to go, but we're talking about the like later rounds, so 5 through 7. So he might be better suited just to stick around as well. And Tennessee's definitely going to need him. Then we have Ricky Gibson, who coming off of an injury. I think he could also get drafted. As crazy as that sounds, or he could just transfer out somewhere else. But we're just focusing on the draft at this point. So Ricky Gibson, $300,000 to $800,000 is probably what he's getting. I don't know exactly where he's at, but somewhere in that ballpark. I think that it makes more sense for him to come back and play college because I think he should be at least a second-round player. He's that level of good. All right, and then we have David Hobbs. So at defensive tackle, $300,000 to $800,000, just like corner. I could maybe see him going because I think that he didn't play a whole lot this season, but I could maybe see him going in the mid rounds. I could definitely see that happening. So it might make sense for him to go, but hopefully he wants to come back. If not, I wish him well. I sincerely hope that he gets drafted as high as he wants to. You know what I mean? And then AC, so playing at linebacker, $200,000 to about $500,000. Had the turf toes. He's obviously a totally different player when he's fully healthy. And I think that he's looked good, but I think it would probably make more sense for him to come back as well, get his draft stock up more, but he could probably go. We're talking about rounds 5 through 7 for him. That's just my opinion. But contracts about to start. We've already got some done. We're going to have more that we have to get finalized and all that. But I think that in this bowl game, if it's somebody that you really want, you got to let them play more than the other guys. And of course, we want to win every single game. But I don't really like it. Means more for us to hold on to certain players on this team by giving them a lot more burn in this bowl game than it does to win the bowl game. Really, really does. Because if we lose too many folks, then Tennessee is going to be in a really, really tight spot because we'll have to go out to the portal and you're going to have to spend a ton of money if you try to go that route. And I also want to talk about this just very, very quickly. I've talked about getting a general manager. And when I say general manager, I don't mean like the NFL's model. I mean more of somebody that can just organize things for Coach Heupel so that he can focus on only coaching. And he doesn't have to too much worry about all that other stuff, right? But yeah, like the way that we mismanaged the portal, I think last season was a travesty. It's a big part of the reason that this team looked the way that we looked last night, and over the course of the year, we just didn't have enough depth in certain spots, and that can never happen ever again at these. If this, anybody on this staff, we'll just talk about Coach Heupel if he wants to hold on to his job for like the next 2 to 3 years, because I think another season like this next year, he might be gone. Like he's definitely going to be on the hot seat. It's not to say he hasn't done some great things, but it just is what it is. So yeah, maybe go find a general manager. I know that we have somebody that basically has that role, but I don't like what happened with our offseason last season. So if it's me, I would try to upgrade there too. And I don't know what they have in place now. Maybe something's in place and it's more organized and we won't do the same thing twice. I don't know. You might have some more grace there, but I just want to throw it out there. I just want for y'all to hear, everything that I've been thinking, or most of it anyway. All right, so moving on. This is the box score. We're just going to go through this pretty quickly just to show y'all how bad Tennessee played for those of y'all that want to try to stomach this. So we lost 45-24. In the second half, we only scored 3 points. So we got weaker in the second half. Vandy got stronger. That's been a common theme for Coach Heupel. That is the sign of not being a very good coach. If you come out with a good script and you can't make any changes, that's the sign that, some upgrades need to be made there too, I think, and maybe you can make some tweaks, but something has to give. Okay, so as far as the total offensive plays, Tennessee had 10 more plays, so we did a good job from that standpoint. But total yards, Vandy outgained us by about 200 yards, 220 almost yards. That's way too much. Average yards per play, they almost had 9. We had about 5, so doing a horrible job there. First downs 30 to our 22. I'm going to scroll it and just kind of like stop it so that y'all can pause and look at whatever you want to. So third downs, Vanderbilt was 80% converting on third down. Tennessee was at 68%. 68% is a good number. 80% for our defense is atrocious. It's horrible. It felt like we really never stopped Vanderbilt outside of the turnovers. If it wasn't a turnover, I don't know that we really ever stopped them. It might have happened. And then too, like we had some times when we had some stops, but there was some, I think, really bad penalties being called. And it just me. I think that those were some bad calls. I don't too much blame the players for that. Some people might. It just is what it is. So I'm gonna keep on scrolling. Y'all can see a lot of different things. Obviously, we're looking over here right now. I'm looking over here at this left side, but y'all can look at the right side if you want to do that. So keep on scrolling. So we won the turnover battle. We turned them over twice, obviously, with the interceptions, and we still got blown out at home. Gosh, I mean, that says that you really got dominated when something like that happens. So turnover on downs, they had none. Like I said, we had two. All right, that is so embarrassing. And then penalties was also in here. I think I skipped that. If y'all called it, then y'all just called it. But I think that they had, I think we might have had like maybe one more penalty than what they had. Here they are. All right, so we had one less penalty than Vanderbilt had. They had 6, we had 5, but we had more penalty yards. So we had 60 penalty yards and they had 49. Okay, we'll keep on scrolling. So this is special teams in this column. I mean, what the heck happened special teams wise? Nothing. You know, it wasn't even a game for special teams, but I will scroll it through just so y'all can pause it and take a look. All right, so let's take a look at the rushing numbers. It's going to be on this side here. So Tennessee ran the football only 27 times. This is, of course, from Pro Football Focus. Vanderbilt ran it 36 times, and they had 317 yards rushing to our 118. That's all net. And average yards per rush, they were at 8.8. We're at 4.4. Yards before contact, 3.8 for them, 1.5 for us. So that means that we weren't in a good spot. Typically, that means that the defensive line isn't holding up as well, but it could also be part of the scheme. I think that our scheme just was not on point. There were some things that I liked that we did, but I just think that we overcomplicated, like watching the way that their defense was able to take away so many things from our offense with way less talent. It just kind of like brought the thought back to my mind that, yeah, you can scheme things up and force their hand and not play so, hey, we had to be perfect. Like, take more chances. I think the Tennessee could have and should have done that. But after contact, y'all, 5.1 yards per carry for them, 2.9 for us. So still a pretty good job for us. Y'all can see the runs of 10-plus yards. Huge difference right there. Y'all can see the yards that came from that. Okay, so design quarterback runs. It was 15 for Pavia. Like I said, that's what really concerned me the most. He got 99 yards off of design quarterback runs. When things broke down, obviously, he was able to make some big things happen there, too, sometimes. It's just, it was just like, man, everything that can go wrong went wrong. And we actually did a pretty good job of trying to use Joey Aguilar's legs. So we had 5 called runs for him, only got 17 yards. So as far as passing, we threw the football. They're saying 48, so we dropped back to throw it 48 times. Vanderbilt did it 29 times. Man, stick to the run. Stick to the run. We said it like 500,000 times. But y'all can see how the passing numbers looked. You know, we did a pretty good job passing-wise. You know what? The other thing that I didn't talk about real quick, but this is just for the rushing. Vandy forced 7 missed tackles. We forced 5. So that's 7 missed tackles for our defense right there. All right? But I'm going to just scroll through here real quick. We actually threw the football 44 times. Vandy threw it 28. And you can see what the, ratios were, right? This is just taking out drops and all that. Okay, so as far as average depth of target, we're still trying to throw it down the field, I think, a lot. Explosive passes, we both had 7. And I don't know if that's what we hit or what, but either way, deep passes, Tennessee threw 6. We only hit 1. Vandy only threw 2, and they hit 1. So their numbers are going to look a lot better. We got maybe like a few more yards, but even still, you're throwing it down the field too much. That's a problem. But we did force 10 missed tackles within our passing game, and Vanderbilt forced 5. So what is that? Like 12 missed tackles is what PFF is saying that Tennessee had in this game. That is way too many, and Vanderbilt had 15. So they actually had more, but they should have more because we are the more talented team. Now, let's go ahead and take a look at the pass pro numbers, right? We're just going to go through all this stuff. Again, it's just for those of y'all who can stomach it. So this is all of Vanderbilt stuff up top. All right, you can see what they did. As a team, they gave up a pressure rate of 36.1%, and then Tennessee gave up a pressure rate of 28.8%. So we'll scroll this thing down so that you can see in this column, these are sacks. This is how many snaps they had. This is their PFF grade. I think these are hurries or hits or something like that, whatever. But this is the pressure rate that all these players gave up. So David Sanders, I think that he played well. Really, I think that the offensive line played well. I think that they played well not just in pass protection, but also with the run blocking. Now, you might not think that, but what we were giving up, so we gave up a total of 4 sacks. Right here, it's only showing 2 for us, right? It's saying that we gave up a total of 2 sacks. They're saying that 1 went to Jesse Perry, but he actually had 2. On the second one that he, so look, first off, on the first one, he just kind of got beat off of the line. I don't know how that happens. It's like he went too hard and set too hard to the inside. On the second one, he was holding up pretty well. I think it was supposed to be maybe like a quicker pass, but we held on to it. There were people open. I blame that one on Joey more than anything. I think that he's got to get rid of the football. He's got to do something with it. His clock. I mean, you can't give these guys all day, but at the same time, Vanderbilt's defensive line, in my opinion, they weren't like world beaters. So Bishop, listen, he really struggled. I think that was a huge part of the problem is that his pass protection was pretty horrible, especially for like the first part of the game. Now he had a couple of good ones where there was like 2 where he blocked 2 people. So did some good things, but I mean, for the most part, he just looked really, really bad. He obviously gave up 1 sack, but y'all can see what everybody else did, right? It really wasn't terrible from the offensive line from the standpoint of pass pro. And like I said, even just like running the football wise, we were getting movement. I mean, Sam Pendleton, I think he had a really good day as far as moving bodies. Mostly everybody was doing a good job. It's just that our scheme it's just been figured out. Like it's every single season, it gets figured out. And once it's figured out, we don't have the counters. And we've been trying to find, I've been talking about it. Can we find the answers within our running scheme? Because we're not, it doesn't really make a whole lot of sense. We're leaving too many people like just unblocked. We try to use Joey Aguilar as a threat with the option stuff, and we don't block the backside end. But no one's really honoring Joey Aguilar's legs because you could probably bite on the run, from the back, and then still be able to go and get Joey. Even though Joey did some good things with his legs, I'm just saying it is pretty important to have a quarterback that is more of a threat with their legs if we're going to be running this sort of a system. And if he's not that much of a threat, then you can't leave anybody on the line of scrimmage unblocked. And that's based off of the scheme. Okay, so let's move on to the pass rushing, y'all. We're going to move this forward. I'm going to try to get through this as quickly as possible. So, all right, so this is Vanderbilt stuff. Scrolling through briefly, y'all can see all the columns up here, what everything is, right? And then y'all pause it, take a look if you want to take a look, but I'm not really going to talk about what they did. So actually, let me scroll this over. Let's look at the pressure rate. So Tennessee this is the win percent, 30.6%. The pressure rate was about 39%. Okay. And Vanderbilt's was at 32.7%. So we were actually generating more pressure, and pressures don't necessarily just mean blitzes. It just means that the quarterback is under pressure in a passing situation. But who was doing the best job? So I think that Don Bailey did a pretty good job against some pressure. Bryson Easton, they're saying his pressure rate was up there pretty high. Joshua Joseph's, his was pretty good. Tyree Weathersby, pretty good. Arion Carter at about 43%. Jeremiah Thielander, 17%. Obviously, those are all coming on blitzes. Jaden Pilati, 100%. Every time that young man blitzed, he generated pressure. He created problems. And, we might just go back. If the members want to see this, I can go back and show you the impact that Jaden had with the limited number of snaps that he got in this game. It was gigantic. There was no excuse to take him off the field at all. Leave him out there. Maybe if he gets tired, okay, give him a spell. But I think that he might have had our best game as a linebacker. It's not to say, look, Jeremiah Thielander did some good things, Arion Carter did some good things, and so did Edwin Spillman. But as far as that, like having a big impact, Jaden P., I mean, this staff should be ashamed. But y'all can see the rest of what everyone else did here, okay? So I just wanted to kind of scroll through that and let y'all see it. Now, let's get to the rushing numbers. All right, we're going to get to rushing. We're going to get to the receiving stuff, and then we'll get to the coverage. Okay, so running-wise, y'all can see what Pavia did. This is his carries. This is attempts. This is for everybody carries. Yards right here. And this is yards after contact. This is touchdowns, first downs, scrambles. So Joey Aguilar, I'm sorry, Pavia scrambled 5 times. This is missed tackles forced. This is missed tackles forced per carry. Fumbles. This is yards per carry. Okay, so we can kind of keep it right here. So Bishop, he was averaging 4.8 yards per carry. And Morris, he averaged 4 yards per carry. It looks like Star Thomas only got 1 carry, which I think is a travesty, and he wasn't able to do anything with it. But Y'all can see all the numbers. So this is yards after contact per carry, right? You can see how that looks. This dude, Cedric Alexander for Vandy, he had a daggum field day, and it was just from missed fits. We missed a lot of run fits, just people not being disciplined. Okay, so moving on to the pass catching numbers. Let's take a look at this real quick. All right, so y'all can see there, guys. So number 9 was the tight end. So he had targeted 7 times. He had 5 catches, 64 yards. So we did a pretty okay job on him. Obviously, we didn't give up a whole lot within the passing game, but as far as what we did, again, the targets are right here, and the catches are right here, and then the yards are right here. All right, so where is Mike Matthews at? So he was targeted 10 times. He had 6 catches for 58 yards. All right. Chris Browser, he was targeted 12 times, 6 catches. Let's take a look at the drops. Where are the drops at? I think. Okay, so drops are in this column right here. Take a look at the drops real quick. We had 1 drop, and they said that was for Mike Matthews, but Brazel also had a drop. So sometimes these numbers are going to be incorrect. All right, and so last thing, y'all, we'll take a look at the coverage. This is the last thing that we'll take a look at. So I just want to focus on Tennessee. I'll just scroll this up so that y'all can see Vanderbilt stuff and all the columns and everything else. Okay, you can pause it. So for Tennessee, this is how many times they were in coverage. This is how many times they were targeted and how many were caught. So Tyler Revenue was targeted 4 times, only gave up 2 catches. That's 50% for only 29 yards, which is really good. And then Edris Farouk wasn't targeted. Colton Hood targeted 3 times, gave up 2 catches. J-Mac targeted twice, gave up 2. You can see Colton Hood gave up 60 yards. J-Mac gave up 9. Andre Turrentine targeted 7 times, gave up 5 catches, 47 yards. Arion Carter targeted twice, gave up 1 for 14. That's not bad. Edwin Spillman targeted once, gave up 1. Jeremiah T-Lander targeted 4 times, gave up 4 for 58 yards. And Jaron Pilati was not targeted at all. A lot of that's just because he was doing such a good job in his coverage. And I like I said, man, we can go back and I'm going to show you. There was times when they're looking his way, and it's been that way over the course of the year where they're looking his way and they can't throw it there, and it typically turns into a pretty big play for the defense. But yeah, I don't think that the coverage was absolutely atrocious. There were some things that that threw us off from Vanderbilt's scheme that makes it tough. And I put that more on Coach Banks with his style. I think that you gotta have something set up where the secondary players can be more of the pass first, and the linebackers can be more run first. But there were times when linebackers were targeted in coverage, like Pavia runs right at one of the outside backers there. I want to say it might have been Jeremiah T-Lander, and then also over there was J-Mac covering the tight end, number 9, in the slot. And, they both come up to try to make a tackle, and then Pavia's able to throw it and have somebody wide open. So those are the types of things that their offense can do to you to put stress on you. And, yeah, I would like to say that changes have to be made. We'll try to keep it that simple. And that's going to do it, y'all. Just like overall, I'm very disappointed. Obviously, I'm pissed off. I know that y'all are pissed off, too. It wasn't, Tennessee has to be way better. But mostly this is a coaching thing. Yeah, I mean, we can upgrade talent in some spots. We can be better. But it's coaching because we have more talent at some spots, and we're not playing it. And then also, just like some of the scheme stuff, offense, defense. I don't know if I can say special teams, but for sure offense and defense. So we'll see. Hype will make the necessary changes. It felt like, just listen to his press conference after the game, he said, hey, look, coaches and players, kept on saying that. And I think that with all the openings out there, with, all these different coaching openings out there, which I know that a lot of them are starting to get filled up, maybe Coach Heupel feels more comfortable to cut ties with some of these people, because he'll say, okay, well, they should be able to go out and find something now, right? Because it'll all trickle down. All the big-time gigs may be starting to get filled up, but it's still a trickle down where, hey, these people can go and find something. Maybe he'll feel more comfortable with that. I don't know. I can't speak for him, but changes have to be made. Simple as that. So, listen, hope to have a good rest of y'all Sunday. I know that this one stings. This one hurts. Gonna be frustrated. I don't know. I guess after next week, we'll know exactly what bowl Tennessee's going to. We might come out with some video breakdowns for everybody, just showing you some of the things that we did wrong, where we need to upgrade at. But we're going to do our best to keep y'all covered. So please make sure to like and subscribe to the channel and share your thoughts. And we'll be talking to y'all soon. Peace. Thanks for watching, and please make sure to like and subscribe to the channel because that keeps us growing inside of the YouTube algorithm. And if you did like this video, here's another one that you might also enjoy. Thank you, thank you, thank you. We'll see you on the next one. Peace.